India and Pakistan. Very tense night, and after India's attack on certain Pakistani bases that it claimed were against terror bases, India released a statement saying we were not targeting the Pakistani army, therefore we are being reasonable with our attack, in a way to show that we're not interested in escalation. Pakistan saying we will respond in the right time, in the right place, only for them to start a massive attack, taking down 5 fighter jets that belong to India, Indian media confirming that they were taken down too, targeting an infantry brigade, destroying a whole base, and according to certain reports coming from Pakistan, imprisoning Indian soldiers too. The death toll rose since yesterday. However, what we want to understand here is, where are things going? Where are things going? India and Pakistan, both of them are nuclear powers. Are they going towards escalation? Before we get into the prospect of escalation or non-escalation, I just wanted to share with you something. What is it? Who sympathized with Narendra Modi? This is something very interesting. Who outright said, "Oh, we support India's right to self-defense"? Israel. Israel backs India's right to self-defense. Of course they back it. I mean, Israel gave us examples, the Zionist regime in self-defense, right? Now, when Israel says self-defense, one can wonder, what is Modi really thinking too? Is he also going to conduct something like the Israeli self-defense? We've had certain statements coming from extreme figures in the circles of Modi, saying that they need to approach this situation in Kashmir like Israel is approaching the situation with Gaza. Are they going to do that? Okay, that's firstly, because both Netanyahu and Modi have been best buddies for a very long time. Look at how cute they are walking on the beach together. Do you know what's the biggest thing they share in common? Pure hatred for Islam and Muslims. That's something they share in common, both of these people. Islamophobic to the high heavens. Common enemy. That's why Israel supports India so much, or Modi. Because to be fair, I mean, the people both in India and Pakistan, they deserve freedom, they deserve their rights regardless, But talking about the Modi government here, especially with his ties with Benjamin Netanyahu. And that's why Israel is saying we support their self-defense. Other countries, by the way, many of them stated that we need to de-escalate. China, many countries, Gulf, all saying we need to de-escalate. Qatar, Oman, willing to mediate, all of that talk. But Turkey said we're supporting Pakistan. Turkey was one of those countries who outright said, oh no, we actually support Pakistan. Turkey first to show solidarity with Pakistan after Indian strikes. Pakistan Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar thanks Turkey for extending unconditional support after India's active war. Not many countries had this position with Pakistan. However, this position coming from Turkey is understandable because of their ties with Pakistan. The Turkish ties with Pakistan have been increasing in recent years. Their coordination, their collaboration, their increased ties, economic ties, military ties too. And they were one of those countries, well, the first one, according to the foreign minister of Pakistan, to say, oh no, we outright support Pakistan. And the country that outright supported Modi was, of course, the Israeli entity, the Israeli regime. Now, is there going to be something really big? Are we going to see a nuclear war between India and Pakistan? Are things going to escalate? where things are going to go to? This is the question that many people are asking nowadays. And I think for people to understand where things might be going, I think some people need to understand the relationship between India and Pakistan, the capabilities of the two countries, and their history too. Before saying, because some people are saying Armageddon, like Armageddon is going to happen. And listen, the conflict between two countries can reach a really high level of tensions. However, there there are backgrounds that are important to understand, to know the prospect of reaching that nuclear Armageddon that some people are talking about. Now, from an Indian perspective, India has a no first use policy in relation to nuclear arms. So India says we will never be the side that begins with a nuclear attack. Pakistan's policy is to use nukes to counter a nuclear threat from a bigger and stronger country. Now, Pakistan also didn't rule out using nuclear first in general. So the policy of Pakistan is a little bit different than the policy of India in relation to the use of nuclear. But both of them have nuclear. However, they don't know how much the other side has. However, both of them are in agreement of certain treaties. They have had 34 years consecutively of treaties. One of them was the prohibition of attack against nuclear installations and facilities. The two sides have this agreement, and they exchange their nuclear facilities and installations info each January, every year, India and Pakistan. And they have been doing that for 34 years. That's a very long time, and they still do. And of course, there are tensions between them. There are escalations, now full blown. But as in full blown, at least up until yesterday, we haven't seen any more escalation. Following the escalation that happened yesterday, this could signal that things might de-escalate, but there's a potential that things might escalate again. However, if we talk about nuclear, because this is the big question that people are asking, are we going towards a nuclear war? We're still far from that. Why? Because there are many steps to be taken before any side reaches a nuclear agreement. No country is under existential threat. Yes, India called the Pakistan called what India has done an act of war. They have responded. Innocent people have been killed. There was damage. However, it's still hasn't reached the stage of like full blown outright everything. No, we haven't reached that stage. And the prospect of a nuclear attack, although it is indeed a real prospect because the two countries are nuclear powers, it's still quite a far-fetched scenario at this moment, especially considering how long the two countries have been cooperating with each other in relation to the information they give and provide each other about their nuclear facilities and nuclear capabilities, as in capabilities in terms of where they actually develop the weapons, not the amount of weapons and amount of nuclear warheads that they have.